So I thought long and hard for the past hour and a half, and I thought I'm going to put together a list of my favorite fictional horror characters that I might be able to survive in real life. So we have 4 tiers today. We have useless, just a small scratch, maybe a little damage, and don't even try. And those tiers explain themselves, but here we have all the characters from the games that we played, and let's start. If it isn't obvious already, I am a huge fan of mascot horror. I was an OG Five Nights at Freddy's player when it first came out in 2014, and then when I heard about the release of Poppy Playtime, I didn't know what to think about it at first because I've been so ingrained with how the FNAF gameplay was, and now this is one of the first games where you would actually free roam around the place. And when I played Chapter 1 for the first time, nothing scared me more than seeing some 20-foot tall blue gigantic monster just coming straight at me, which is going to be the first villain that we talk about today on this list. So, Huggy Wuggy is just absolute straight up nightmare fuel. You're telling me that if you were to walk outside and see this, that you would be fine? When I found out that this picture existed on the internet, I jumped when I saw it, because I know this game series is scary, but I didn't know it was like that. The title of this image is literally called Nightmare Fuel in my folders. And if this thing were to come for me in real life, I'd be dead. I wouldn't even run. But there is one way that you could get him to not kill you immediately, and I'm talking about Kissy Missy. We learn in Chapter 5 that this is the only person that Huggy will not just go crazy on. So all you really have to do if you see him is just show him a picture of Kissy Missy, and then he'll just be there doing whatever while you get to run away. And problem solved. But let's get back to the real issue. This thing is just so massive and tall that my sprinting would be its walking, and I'd be dead in seconds. Immediate don't even try tier. Even in this video, I can't even run from it in the game. But if it hasn't clocked to you yet, this thing is going on don't even try. There isn't even a simmer of hope that I'd be able to scratch this thing. Now, I haven't played much of Chapter 2, but just by looking at her, I'm fucking dead, bro. Like, not even a shot. If you've seen that clip in the Hour of Joy of her just picking up all those workers and just throwing them on the floor, like, you're cooked. Literally, the only way that you would be able to survive her is if you just don't even go into the factory in the first place. And while I'm making her sound like Thanos right now, she is a very dangerous character. Even though she doesn't look like it, she can attack from a distance. As you see in the game, her arms are very, very long, and she can twist and contort herself in so many different ways that is just like unfathomable for me right now. So she is going in don't even try tier, but I'd put her right behind Huggy because we don't get much screen time of her in the game. Yeah. Before I start, I love these transitions, bro. Alright, but let's get down to the meat and potatoes. So, if we have to be real, Catnap makes Huggy look like nothing. This thing just plays some crazy mind games with you throughout Chapter 3. And while you only have around like 3 encounters with it, it's just so freaking creepy. Have you seen what the second phase looks like in the boss phase? Like, yeah, it's because you're hallucinating with the red gas, but that thing just looks absolutely insane. And then if you look at the ARGs here that I have on screen, like, it shows its conditioning. This thing wants revenge or some shit. Like, you're dead. If this thing sees you and you're not expecting it, you are dead. This thing will eat you up like crazy. Now, I'm done with the app. This thing is going immediately into don't even try tier. And I know we've had the first 3 on do not try, but Mob Entertainment knows how to make some crazy characters. So this one for me is probably going to be the most tame one that's on this tier list. While he is on the cover of Chapter 4 and he's the character that you spend most of your time with, he is a passive character. Like, he doesn't beat the crap out of you or anything. Actually, you work with him. What they do is all control his emotions together. When you get to the end of the chapter, Doey goes absolutely crazy, thinking that it's your fault that all of his friends are dead, and then that's when he kills you. So really, if we had to get down to this, he won't do anything to you unless you do anything to him, so just don't make him upset. Now, we're gonna go off of me not doing anything wrong to him, so we're gonna put him in useless tier because we are not doing anything to make him kill us. We're just going to be there. We're going to hang out with him. Everything's going to be all right. Yeah.
God. God.
Dr. Newman.
Good evening to you too. When I first saw this clip in the Chapter 5 ARG, I was like, holy crap. This is the first time you're actually like up and close with the prototype for the first time. As you've seen him throughout other chapters, he's literally one-tapping. Mommy long legs, catnap, literally anything and everything that comes in its way. Just look at him. He's freaking terrifying right now. If that thing was up in my face trying to fight me, I am dead. The thing is like 20 feet tall. His hands are literally these long knife-like hands. And when you look in these videos, the ARGs, even just the gameplay itself, you can see that he's just one-tapping anything that comes in its way. So I'm dead. There's not a thought about that. Thinking that I could run away. Just watch the video that I showed in the beginning. There is no running from this thing. He will find you. He will kill you. He will turn you into a toy. And you're dead. Instant, don't even try tier. Now I actually think we're done with Poppy Playtime, so I think we could move on to the next section. Before I start with this one, this soundtrack is probably one of my favorites that I've ever listened to. But we're only going over a couple characters here because I feel like a lot of them overlap each other when you get into like Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, just anything like that. Like Foxy's different. That's why on the list I have it just Freddy and then Foxy, but then you have Golden Freddy and then Springtrap. So we're going to start off Freddy Fazbear, you know? So I really think it depends just on what the situation is, because if you are like an unexperienced night guard, you know, like you're just starting out and then Freddy Fazbear just decides to come in there and beat the shit out of you, like you're dead. But context of this video, we are doing if I could survive it IRL, you know? And I don't know. My ego is telling me that this thing is just some soulless animatronic, even though there's a whole kit inside of there. Really, I think if this thing really wanted to rock my shit, then it would. So I'm gonna put it in could do a lot of damage, you know, because it's not like I could put it either in a lot of damage or just a scratch, but it wouldn't be just a scratch, you know. I feel like I'd put it in between, but we're just gonna put it in the tier below that, just a scratch for now, just so we see like what's going on. If you think I shouldn't even try it, just like call me wrong, you know. Okay, the next one that we have is Golden Freddy. So I feel this is one of the reasons why I put Freddy in the one below it, because while there's no like genuine physical like manifestation of him, like he's really just a spirit, I feel like this is kind of the same too, because it's not physical. There's not an actual thing there. It's just all in the brain, you know. Like this thing will just drive you crazy, but I feel like if you're smart enough, like this can't even do anything to you. I could put it in the tier with Freddy because there's nothing for me to like beat up, you know. Like this thing will just get in my head and make me go crazy. Oh no, actually that doesn't really sound good. That's gonna do a lot of damage, so we'll just throw that in there. Now this one's gonna be the controversial one. You guys are gonna think that I'm absolutely crazy when I say this. Springtrap. William Afton himself, the whole cause for this whole trilogy happening, you know? If we really have to get into like the real physical parts of it, like this guy's been a rotting corpse for years, you know? But I'd say there's things that could make him difficult to beat because he's inside of a suit, and suit's very big, suit's very tall, and then it's also just like a machine. You see how he was moving in, I can't even say FNAF 3 because it was just like still pictures, but if you saw how he was moving in like the VR version of FNAF 3, like he's really, really slow. Like, yeah, like once he gets to you, like you're done because he has like the hydraulics of the robot. But I feel like one-on-one, like I think I have a shot. My ego is telling me that I have a shot. I know these are ranking a lot lower than the Poppy Playtime characters, but there's just so many Five Nights at Freddy's characters. I feel like a lot of them are like so human-like in its form of shape, so it's not really like a lot of damage that they could do, especially since I'm like a fully functioning, decently athletic adult, and then there's a rotting corpse inside a robot. So we're gonna put Springtrap in, I don't know, because you could just like electrocute him or something. I don't know. Damn. It could leave a scratch, you know. It could do all right. Okay, now we're getting near the end already, actually, for this. So Foxy. So the reason why I separated Foxy from all the other animatronics is because he genuinely, he has a weapon on him, you know? He's got that big metal hook. And so when you think about it, like even in game too, he's the first character that you see in game like move in the cameras, and this guy books it down the hall. And I remember there was a video from a guy that I saw that like did the math on how fast Foxy was moving, and it was like, bro beat Usain Bolt for real. So he's fast. He's significantly lighter than all the other animatronics because he does have a lot of missing parts on him. So, but he's got the hook. Like that guy could do some crazy stuff. But I'm not saying he's as dangerous as like the prototype, because prototype's a whole different story. I don't know. He could do a lot of damage. Like if I fight him with the hook, I could die. Like all he has to do is just whip me with that hook and then I'm dead. So we're going to throw him in, could do some damage, you know. We're going to put him one below, you're fucked, because there's always a chance, because it's not like this thing is going to murder you, you know. All right, we have the last one. So the reason why there's 2 pictures of the Mimic is because I'm including the version from Ruin and then the version in Secret of the Mimic. So we're going to go off the one in Ruin first because he's not that bad. This guy has been sitting under this pizzaplex for a while, from what I remember from the lore. So he has a lot of like deteriorating parts, you know, like he's like regenerating himself. No, he's repairing himself. He's fixing himself, you know? So when we encounter him in Ruin, like we're a small child, but then also you just see how slow he's moving throughout. Yeah, he beat the living crap out of Roxanne, but he did do that. I could give that to him. I was going to put him in could do a lot of damage because he could do a lot of damage, but then also you have to remember like this thing is insanely strong, especially with its backstory. Damn, so I think I'm going to bunch up. I'm going to talk about the Secret of the Mimic version too. So this is a newer model, you know. He could shapeshift. Spoilers, even though the game is a year old already. Like, he could turn into David. He could do all that. He can fit into any suit in the game, you know? Any area of the game that you go to, he's there. Could be there. He could be in one of the suits. And I think that makes it very dangerous because if you are to go one-on-one head-to-head with him, if you're in, like, a room where there's a bunch of costumes and shit, where would you do that? Like, actually, no, that would be the only place where you would find it. Like, you're dead. You wouldn't know where he is. He could just pop up behind you and he could just instantly murder you. So with my own change of plans with that, I'm going to throw both of the Mimics into the don't even try territory, but I am going to put the Ruin Mimic behind the regular Mimic. Oh boy. Did that scare you? Because it definitely scared me. In this video that you are watching right now, I had to go into creative mode because I can't face this thing in survival. I lose my shit. You throw me in the water and you tell me there's a Reaper in there, I'm gonna probably die of a heart attack. So if you guys can't tell, I have severe thalassophobia, whatever it's called. All I know is that I can't even get close to the Aurora when I play this game, but I feel like this character alone and me speaking into this mic right now is gonna make me want to do a Subnautica video. So we're gonna get one of those later. Yeah, if you put me head to head with a Leviathan, instant death. The ego is gone now, you know? We're not fighting animatronics anymore. We're fighting fucking big, gigantic Reapers. I am dead. And the scariest part about it, too, is that when you hear it, it's already found you. So, I'm so cooked. Here's an honorable mention for a game that I really enjoyed when I was younger, but I haven't played it that much lately. Bendy and the Ink Machine. This game really blew up around like 2017, 2018. It really introduced the chapter system into mascot horror, and then with each chapter we got new characters that we got to play against and stuff. So really the one that I want to start off first is Boris, you know, because Boris, he's a very passive character that you find in the beginning of the game, but then when you get to chapter 3, he gets taken at the end, and then at the start of chapter 4, you spend that whole storyline trying to find Boris and escape the factory, and then at the end of the game you fight him head to head, and then you find out that he was turned into like this brute, right? So I had a lot of trouble on this boss fight, and just thinking that I would have to fight him head to head in this scenario, that would be really hard, and I think he would honestly just crush me. But with all the things that are around in the environment, I could really use that to my advantage and stuff. So I'd really say that I could put him in, could do a lot of damage. I think that's just where we're at with him right now. He doesn't have a lot of screen time until the end. And then he actually gets killed by the new Boris and Alice Angel, from what I remember in the game. And now, the second one we're going to do, which we're doing him because he's in the gameplay. I haven't really put much thought into him, but the projector guy. I'm running away from this dude. This guy has zero situational awareness. He doesn't see you unless the light of the camera is on you, and I think that makes it really interesting because he is decently slow. And in this clip, I do manage to run away from him at the end, but like really, if you have the Tommy gun from doing the Easter egg, you could kill him. He's an easy kill, right? But with no weapon, it's really a game of hiding and stuff. So really, I'd say for projector guy, I think he could leave a scratch, you know, because he is a 2-hit kill, but he's very easy to get away from and he doesn't have that much to him. So really, I'd throw him in and could just leave a scratch, or if anything, like not even any damage at all, because this guy has 0 screen time practically, besides getting absolutely obliterated by Bendy at the end. But yeah, this guy, he's an easy kill. Like, yeah, that's the ego speaking. Now, the last one, we have Bendy. I saved him for last because A, he is the face of the franchise, and 2, there's just so many instances where you meet him. So this guy, he could walk through walls and shit, you know? Like, he's the ink demon, basically. This guy is gonna freaking murder you. So really, he's extremely dangerous, you know? Like, the only way that you could kill him at the end of the game is by showing him the end tape. And even with that, you're still like running away from him and stuff. And then after, when you finish killing him, you just go back to do it again. Because in the lore, the whole game is just a loop. Never-ending loop happens all the time. So even when you kill him, you will meet him again in a further playthrough. Yeah, that's just game lore-wise and stuff, but if I had to go head-to-head to him, he would be very difficult to kill, you know? But I wouldn't really stand a chance based on the things that he's done. There, in Chapter 1, he doesn't even chase you, but, like, he's very fast. Instant death. We have now made it to the last part of the video, and we are going over the characters from Resident Evil. Well, certain characters from Resident Evil. These characters are only in the Ethan Winters storyline, since that's the only trilogy I've played. And so we're going to start off with the Lycans and the Mold, you know? So these guys, they're pretty dangerous, right? The Lycans in the game basically kill anything that they see, right? They're pretty strong, but really they are easy kills if you have a ranged weapon. They only take a couple shots, and if you're resourceful and if you're just smart and block them, then they're an easy death, you know? But if I were to fight these guys in real life, it would be pretty difficult. I'd definitely like lose a limb fighting these Lycans, but like I could get them. I'm gonna throw them and could do a lot of damage, because while they are just like the standard mob of the game, like these guys are really dangerous too. Now the Mold. These are the equivalent of the Lycans in Resident Evil 7. And these things are just mold monsters, right? They just come after you and they just try to freaking kill you. They're very slow, extremely slow, but they do have a lot of health. These things will eat up your bullets like crazy. And that's why, for me, really just the slow factor, I could just like run away from it, you know? So we're going to throw the Mold into could leave a scratch, because it's going to get a piece of me before I could get away. But it doesn't really do much. Nah, we're going to throw it in easy, because I could just run away from it. It's easy. Now, the Baker family. I hate the Baker family. I think they actually have one of the best storylines Resident Evil-wise, how they were just like a family living in a creek in Louisiana. But then, like, after they were infected with the mold and everything, Jack literally cuts your foot off with a shovel. Like, no balls, just does it. No problem to him. And then, like, you shoot him in the face multiple times, you light him on fire and you blow him up, and he still comes back. And then you do all of that again, and then he turns into his boss fight, and then you kill him and stuff. And then that's all from him. You finally kill him. But then you have like all the other people, Margaret, Lucas, those people. Margaret is the hardest kill out of all of them, if I really had to say. She's just freaking terrifying. I had so much trouble killing her for that boss fight. It was just creepy as shit. And honestly, I'm afraid of bugs for the life of me. So she'd do a lot of damage to me, you know? And same for Jack too. We're gonna throw them and can do a lot of damage. And then Lucas, he doesn't do that much, but Lucas is probably one of the easiest kills out of there. He's really just there, but I really love his storyline and what he does. Now, the big one out of all of them, Evelyn. If you thought the Baker family was bad, she's the one that caused all this. She's the entire reason why Resident Evil 7 is happening. She made the mold. She did all that stuff to the Baker family, like instant death. You've seen how she is in the final boss fight. And the only reason why we made it that far was because we died at the beginning of the game and were made back into mold. So, yeah, we're fucked. I don't want to turn into mold. I'm dead. Now, we're going to make our way into Resident Evil 8 now because that's just what we have left on the board. Lady D, we're going to start with her first. We're going to go in boss order first, and she could leave a scratch. Like, she's pretty damaged. She has knives for hands, bro. She takes that shit out and she just smacks your shit and you're dead. But then we're not going off of her boss phase, because if this was her boss phase, I would be dead. But really, we're just going off of like her human form. She is very slow but extremely tall. Honestly, like, if you survive her for a long amount of time where she's not able to get any blood or anything, she would be very weak. And then I think that allows you to fight her, but then, like, you can't really kill her unless you fight her boss fight. So I don't know what we're getting with this. But I'm going to throw her and can do a lot of damage. Donna Beneviento is probably one of my favorite bosses out of this entire series. When you first get to her area of the game, she uses the flower in the game to really like disorient you, and then that's when you get like the sequence in her house where you have to run away from that gigantic fucking nightmare baby, and then also that's when you have to fight all the dolls at the end and chase her through the house. But really, she plays major mind games on you. Like, she will make you go fucking mad. I feel like after that, she could do a lot of damage, but it's doable, you know? So we're gonna throw her on there for now, and then we're gonna see how the rest of the bosses go. Moreau. This guy is absolutely useless. Like, when I fought him for the first time, he becomes a big gigantic fish, right? And if you're not fighting him in water, he's an easy kill. Like, he wants his water, like he's dehydrated as shit. Easy kill. We're throwing him in easy. The second guy in easy tier for this video behind Doey. Now, Heisenberg. Not Walter White, Heisenberg. So really, he is one of the most powerful characters in this entire game. He could manipulate electromagnetics, he can move metal, he can make electricity, and that makes him one of the most dangerous in this entire game. He does so much crap to you, and then when you get into that final boss fight, he just turns into a giant amalgamation of just metal parts, creating this big creature, you know? But then also, if we have to take into account like just him, we are dead. But based on how we killed him in game, like, that's really difficult. He has that whole factory to himself where he does all that shit. On my notes here, I was gonna throw him and could do a lot of damage, but now that I'm like speaking it, I'm cooked, bro. This guy could just trap me in some metal and just obliterate me, you know? Okay, now last but not least, Mother Miranda. Literally the easiest speed kill of my entire life. Give me a maxed out AR and she'll be dead in literally 30 seconds. Absolutely useless. Easiest character on this entire list. Get out of here. So after watching that laughable speed kill, we're just gonna throw her into easy tier because she's absolutely useless. I hope you guys really enjoyed what I did for this video. This took me a while to make, actually, since this is one of my first that I've actually made where I'm like editing actual B-roll and stuff. It was very unorganized, but I'm really happy I got to make this. It was pretty difficult, but still, like, we're trying to up the quality of videos for this channel. Yeah, it's 25 minutes, but really, I'd like to thank you for making it to the end. And if you make it to the end, good job. Thank you. See you in the next one. Bye.